Hey, what's up, everybody? This video is going to start out, this review is going to start out a little strange because it was originally going to be tacked on to the end of the haul video where I picked up the Icons of Adventure 4 movie set from Hammer. So if I just let it start, it would sound a little strange. But so anyway, let's get into it. This is a review of the actual 4 movie set, and specifically the one film on there that I hadn't seen, The Pirates of Blood River. Hey, what's up, guys? I figured since that was kind of a short one, I would just talk a little bit more about this 4 film set, The Icons of Adventure. I went ahead and watched The Pirates of Blood River, so I'll give you a little review of that film. I have seen The Devil Ship Pirates before, and I believe I've seen The Stranglers of Bombay. I may have even seen The Terror of the Tongs, but I'm pretty sure I've seen The Stranglers of Bombay, and which is kind of funny because The Pirates of Blood River and The Devil Ship Pirates are very similar, and I saw on IMDb somebody said that both of these films are very similar. Like the 2 pirate movies are almost like reworking the same plot, even with a lot of the same actors. They both have Christopher Lee, Michael Ripper, and I think they both have Andrew Keir as well. So yeah, let's just talk about, and this is it's funny, you know, this is, as they say here, Hammer wasn't just horror, which is important to remember. There's some really good Hammer films. So if you're going down the list of just their horror movies, which I believe was about 45% of their catalog, roughly, that's just my own guess, you know, we forget that there's a lot of suspense thriller type films, pirate films in the Hammer catalog that aren't technically horror, that some often feature many of the same actors, a subject maybe we can talk about for another time, but this is really good. So yeah, let's just get to real quick The Pirates of Blood River, and then we'll talk about a couple of the special features. This is a fun one. Early 60s. Now this is supposed to take place in the tropics, where you have some Huguenots who have escaped France to practice their faith, basically, and not be persecuted. You know, Huguenots went to different places around the world so they can practice their faith. I'm not an expert or anything, but you know, that's what people did back then. They took great risks and traveled across the ocean to establish their own community. So supposedly they're in the tropics. Now, quite obviously, this was not filmed in the tropics. This was filmed in Great Britain. So there is that. They did what they can, you know. So basically you have almost like a I think the 17th century. So these are like Puritans. So think about like Puritans in New England. That's the way they're dressed, kind of. But they're in the tropics, supposedly. And basically you have 2 star-crossed lovers who get caught. And, you know, of course, they have strict religious codes back then. So there's our young hero gets caught with the wife of another man who happens to be one of the town elders, and he's like one of the judges. And this guy's father, played by Andrew Keir, is he's like the community leader, like slash judge, main judge, head judge. And they have a big courtroom with a giant statue of the founder, which is the grandfather of the young guy, or maybe great grandfather. And that's where they have their proceedings and so forth. And anyway, he gets sent to a penal colony. The woman tries to run away, and should I tell you? Well, it's called Blood River, so something happens. Let's just leave it at that. And he's in the penal colony, and it's one thing about this movie, everybody looks appropriately sweaty and grimy. This is one of the sweatiest, grimiest movies I've ever seen. Everybody looks appropriately dirty, especially when he's in the penal colony breaking rocks. Anyway, he's, you know, there's a lot of abuse going on. Some people are randomly picked on, and food and drink are taken away from people randomly. So he rebels and he escapes with another guy. And as he's doing so, he stumbles upon some pirates, and The head pirate is played by Christopher Lee, and his sidekick is played by Michael Ripper, who doesn't get quite enough credit and should be higher billed in this. He's like the right-hand man of Christopher Lee. And amongst the pirates also is Oliver Reed. So it's really, this is an excellent cast. And many of the other, the second in command, I don't recall his name, but he's been in many other films too. And basically, they kind of take him in, and he kind of explains his situation, and they say, well, we need to establish a place inland where we can go and rest and recuperate, and if you take us there, we'll give you safe passage, and and some of the pirates are like, oh, I bet you have gold, and he's like, no, we don't have any gold, we don't have any treasure, and he tells the captain, look, I just want you to know we don't have anything to offer really. And the captain says, oh, no problem, let's continue on with the deal. When they arrive at the outskirts of the village, some of the pirates see some of the ladies doing some work on their little family farms, and they get a little frisky, and there's a little bloodshed, and so then right off the bat the captain has to step in and pretty much say, yeah, the whole thing was a ruse, we're taking over. And basically it's the struggle of this community against the pirates, with the dynamic of the fact that you have the father and son relationship. The son is trying to help, but the father has pretty much excommunicated him from the village, and several times there's some hostages taken, but there's also some of the community has escaped, and eventually the pirates, let's just say this, they're looking for treasure, and eventually they come up with a plan, and it just kind of all boils down to a conclusion. Lots of good pirate shenanigans. They have these disagreements amongst themselves, which they have to settle with brute force, which, by the way, the same thing happened in the Devil Ship Pirates. It's pretty good. Like I said, the locations aren't the most convincing, but the action is pretty good, and Christopher Lee is a delight here. He's in full evil mode, and as is Michael Ripper as assistant. I mean, he gleefully has some of the community people draw straws to see who's going to be executed if they don't cough up some treasure. I mean, he does it with a smile on his face. So it was a fun one. Now the whole disc, by the way, let's see what else you get on here. And this is something I got from eBay, so pretty easy to find. I'm really eager to listen to the... I've never heard Jimmy Sangster, the writer, speak. He was one of the most prolific writers for Hammer, and he also, he did a lot of American television as well. So he does some of the commentary, so I'm really eager to listen to that. I think when I watch the Devil Ship Pirates, I'll just watch it with the commentary, since I've seen that within the last year. And then, so you have the commentary with Sangster, David Goodman, Marcus Hearn, Don Minghier, and Chris Barnes. Then you have a cartoon, The Merry Mutineers, with Scrappy. I don't know who Scrappy is. I watched it. It's actually kind of entertaining. There's some, as was often the case with these old cartoons, there's a couple scenes where it's like a little racially insensitive here and there. It is interesting. They do depict Laurel and Hardy, the Three Stooges, and the Marx Brothers quite extensively. You don't often see that in one cartoon. And then they have chapter 1 of a serial called The Adventures of Captain Kidd. So relatively short. I guess it was about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. I didn't even think I was going to watch the whole thing, but all of a sudden it was over. Kind of quaint, as far as the acting and the action goes, but I would definitely watch more of it. It was kind of fun. And then they have a 2-reel comedy, Hot Paprika, starring Andy Clyde. So that's like a Three Stooges length short. Even had Vernon Dent in it, who was in a lot of Stooges. A lot, not just the Stooges, but there was a lot of people making those shorts back then. A lot of them have just sort of been forgotten about. That was okay. Wasn't the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then, of course, it's got trailers. The second disc has trailers for movies that were, when this came out, I guess in the early 2000s maybe. There's trailers for like Desperado on there and stuff like that. So, in Western collections and things. So the trailers are been out a while. But anyway, really, if you can see this is a perfect example of something that I really don't mind buying used at all. You know what I mean? As long as it's in good, decent shape. And this one's actually in very good shape. Really a pretty cool 4 movies collection. Highly recommend it. And it's not often you see the Pirates of Blood River on DVD. So to have it with the Devil Ship Pirates and 2 other movies, it's pretty cool. Alright guys, have you seen any of these, and what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below.